books on the side of my bed are all, personal development and all kinds of stuff. So why wouldn't you have a coach for keeping healthy?
See, I'm scared to get a personal coach because I'm afraid you're going to actually make me work out.
Oh,
And I already know you every
Monday.
morning.
Oh my God.
I want
He'll
to pay
be on
some
Monday.
workout for me.
I told him, I said, okay, after Monday's workout, I was so whacked out. I said, I'm going to be back here Thursday, but I have to move this weekend. So, make sure I'm not, completely sore that I can't,
No, that's after your workout.
I was just going to say, that's your workout. No, that is absolutely your
Do you need any
workout.
help?
Not this weekend. We're not, we're moving out of the apartment. We've been renting, there's a company called International Quarters here in Marin where you could rent furnished apartments either at
Oh, yeah, I
Larkspur
heard about that.
Landing or
Chamber
we're up
told
at
me
Smith
about it.
Branch. And it's ungodly expensive, but you hope not to have to be in there that long. But we've been in there longer than we wanted to, and our lease is up on Monday because they have somebody moving in on the 15th, so we can't get any extra time. And the place it's just, can't bend the laws of physics, and they're just not done. Even though they kept saying, "Oh, we'll be done by Thanksgiving. Oh, we'll be done by the 1st of December."
There's also extended stay.
Yeah, well, we're gonna stay. We've got a nice place.
Extended stay, that place where somebody got shot?
Yeah.
Don't go there.
Goes to the finest places.
Yeah.
Okay, and then this is your set of headphones here. And this will help you because if you accidentally start kind of going, in fact, go ahead and.
Oh,
It's like the high tech.
I'll be able to
It's
tell.
got Scotch tape on it.
So if you go ahead and do
These
you
are
hear
fun.
me?
I can hear you.
Okay, so get a little closer
I
to the
can
mic.
hear you now.
Okay, here. Okay, now just so you know what not to do, go ahead and go like this, and you can't hear it.
What did you say to me?
Yeah, see how that works?
I
But
do.
if you turn like this, then you can do it all you want.
As long as you do everything but kiss it.
These are great because you can hear the feedback and
Yeah.
know exactly how you sound or going to sound on the radio.
Oh.
And feel free to over-inflect. We've learned that over time that when you don't, if you speak naturally on the radio, you sound kind of monotonous and monotone like that.
Yeah.
But if you get a little inflection to your voice, then
I got inflection.
There you go. I'm full of inflection.
I'm Kramer.
And
Okay, Pat.
and you
Patty
can
will
look
join
at
us
the camera
when
if
she
you
comes
want
in.
to.
Don't look at the camera.
No,
or is it
you
no?
can.
No, he wants you to look at the camera.
It's always good if you feel like
Yeah.
it. Like Mark looks at it, it looks good.
Did you
So
see me
before we
both
get
spots?
started,
Wait,
so
actually-
I know of you because you've been in Marin a long time. You've
We're
been in
not
the
quite
paper.
there yet.
So, and I know you've been in banking. And
Buddy.
what are we going to talk about, Edward and Joan?
I thought what we do is talk about her being. Are you the first, or you're one of the first?
I was one of the first women in several different positions, actually, because I think I was the first woman supervisor.
Okay.
That was in 1967 or 8.
Goodness.
And I was the first manager. You know the Wells Fargo branch on 4th and B?
Yep.
I was the first woman to be a manager in that bank because it was too big for a woman.
There you go. So we're talking about
Crocker
Oh, good,
Citizens?
fun stuff like that.
yeah, women in banking.
Are you
and then-
still in banking?
I retired 2 years ago.
Okay, and you
Wouldn't
were
that Crocker
with.
Citizens?
What?
Wouldn't that Crocker Citizens Bank?
It was Crocker Anglo when I joined it.
That's what I meant.
Yeah,
'cause
Crocker
you said
Anglo,
Wells
then Crocker
Fargo.
Citizens, then Crocker Bank, and then Wells Fargo bought them, which is
That's
the
right.
first bank I started working for.
Security Pacific. I guess they were bought out.
They were
by-
before, yeah.
Sorry, Mark, I stepped on you.
That's all right. No.
So, I'm sorry?
And when you left banking, you were with which bank? Was it Bank of
Well,
Marin or
I went to Wells Fargo first for 2 years. I was 19.
Yeah.
And then I went to Crocker Bank.
Yeah.
I was there for 25 years. And then I went to Bank of Marin
That's right. That's where I
for
remember you.
25 years. Well, I was their community relations person.
Yeah.
I was very popular because I gave them money out, had nothing to do with me.
You're not even recording.
It's
yet.
just about,
And you retired from Bank of Marin.
I retired from Bank of Marin.
So, and not the West America.
No, I
Not
was
the Bank of Marin that became West America, but the Bank of Marin that came after Bank of Marin decided to go West America.
Right. Yeah, right. It was the
Yeah.
second Bank of Marin
Yeah,
by
second Bank.
Bill Murray started the first one.
Right.
And then when he was out, he decided they didn't protect the name. West America didn't protect it.
Isn't
So
that
we were able to
interesting?
take it
Yeah.
and use it. So it was the best time of my life has been truthfully Bank of Marin because of Bill Murray.
Well, and my father did, he banked with pretty much everybody at one point or another, but when the second bank came around, Horst Hanf,
Oh, yes.
we did a whole bunch of loans.
Right.
We had a lot of accounts with you guys.
I remember.
You had the branch, still had the branch on Anderson down the street from where our construction company
Right.
office was.
Yeah.
Like we did at the time back in
1990 we opened.
No, I'm thinking in 2002 we did the largest. We had the largest loan that Bank of Marin had ever done.
I thought your
$8 million.
face looked familiar when I first met you.
Wait,
$8
hold on, let me put a couple of
Did you ever
bars
pay
in
that?
In full, baby.
Well, you
I know
probably-
you said that before, but that was perfect.
You helped get us going. Good, thank
Talking
you.
to a banker.
Thank Yeah, I was the manager on 4th and A. I was the first manager,
Ah, okay.
and it was very exciting.
Yeah.
It was really
That was
fun.
good. It's like I tease people when we fill out bank applications,
Oh.
and you have to say name. Did I ever file bankruptcy? No. You ever been convicted of a felony?
Just two.
Convicted? No. Convicted? No, I was never convicted.
Well, you know what? I worked in
My bankers,
banking.
well, they laugh and they laugh.
I worked in banking in the days when it was one sheet of paper for a note.
Yeah.
That was it. One.
Yeah.
And now none of us read them, let alone the customer.
Yeah. Okay, see, that's good. That's fun. Fun. That's
It's
all we
true.
care about is doing good radio.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to do good, it's got to be funny.
That's right.
That's right. Okay, you guys ready? Patty will join us whenever she comes. So I'm going to do a little thing here, and then I'll introduce. I'll say we have welcome Joan Capurro.
Do you have an opening question you're going to go ahead and ask her, or?
Not necessarily. Just tell us what it was like to be the first, one of the first women on the ground floor of being a banker. The discrimination. How did you work your way up? Give advice to
Okay.
people.
Okay.
Oh, and Mark, question for you: if interest rates rise, do I have to worry about my principal if I invest in deeds of trust? Usually, bond prices decline if interest rates rise.
Yes.
Excuse me. Okay, you ready?
I'm ready, man.
All right, here we go. Welcome. You're listening to The Best of Investing on Talk 910. I'm your host, Edward Brown, and I'm proud to have as my co-host Mark Hanf of Pacific Private Money, one of California's fastest-growing mortgage investment firms. Patti Cohen, she's going to join us a little bit from Pacific Union Realty, our other co-host. And our phone number is 888-912-1190. Use that number to answer the trivia questions for 3 vacations given away during this show. Now, the vacations are not sponsored by the radio station, but by Lighthouse Resort and Marina, which is located 1 hour northeast of San Francisco. Those vacations are free. Their only request, a $75 cleaning fee to cover the housekeeping expenses. Today's trivia theme is Las Vegas bound. So the question's about Las Vegas, all right? Our website is bestofinvesting.com. Check us out on television, Comcast Channel 26 and AT&T 99 on Saturdays at noon, Saturdays at 6 p.m. Today's special guest is Joan Capurro.
Thank you.
Why do we have Joan on the air? Well, because she is a woman. No, that's not the only reason.
Thank you.
No, the reason we're having her is because she was one of the pioneers, I guess is a good way to put it, in banking industry in our section here, which is Marin County. But you've been in banking for so long that you have some great stories about what it was like to be one of the first women, executives, and give some advice to some of the people out there.
I do. Okay. Well, here's my advice. I started at 19 years old in 1960, and I went to work for Wells Fargo Bank in San Francisco. It was so much fun. We celebrated our 21st birthday at least 3 times a year, us gals.
Yeah.
I was a page girl.
Okay, what exactly is a page girl?
Everybody asks me
You
that.
turn the pages of the...
Yeah, that would be nice, but no. It was a little credit department where you filed credit information, and then when one of the guys, because only men were allowed to make loans because they were so much smarter,
Yeah.
and so then we'd run the file over to them, and we'd fight over if he was cute, which one got to take it. And it was great times. It was really great times, and the fact that men were the only ones allowed to make loans didn't occur to me that was wrong. But then I have 5 brothers, so I was programmed. And it was a really fun time, and I was only there for 2 years. But where I learned my lessons was in Marin County, because at 19, you don't really figure all this out. So I finally got a job at Crocker Bank after about I think it was 2 months actually, in Corte Madera. Since I didn't have a car, I had to walk from San Anselmo to Corte Madera.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
In
I
High heels.
You
half
certainly
my life.
didn't
And
hitchhike,
I was
probably.
in high heels. No, I didn't hitchhike. I was scared. I'm a fraidy cat.
Good girl.
And so
Yeah.
anyway, when I got that job, the assistant manager that hired me said, "I hired you because you called me too many times. You were such a pest."
Persistent.
And I said, "Well, my mother told me to." And he looked at me and he goes, "Oh my God."
You had to be somewhat qualified in order
Well,
to
I
get
was
it.
a bookkeeper. I was
Okay.
a bookkeeper. That was my first job there. The funny part about this is where I didn't understand it at the time, but there were 3 young girls hired at the same time. And in those days, you were posting, sounds like I rode on a horse to the job, but you posted the
Chisel.
checks and deposits actually on a piece of paper.
Mhm.
You did all that work
I
yourself.
remember those.
Remember those days?
Sure.
Okay. Well, so after 3 weeks, the manager called me over and said, "Well, we've decided to make you the head bookkeeper." I was so excited. He said, "And we're going to give you a $10 raise." Oh, that's
Per hour.
wonderful. Thank you so much. Per
Per
month.
month.
Per
Yeah.
month,
I know. And
Well,
stupid me, I went back and told the girls, and they were so excited. And they said, "So what was your raise?" I said, $10. They said, "So how much do you make?" I said, "I make $200 now." And they said, "Well, we make that now." And I thought, that doesn't seem fair. But you know what? When you're young and you need a job and you've
Right,
walked
yeah.
so many towns to get it, you just take it.
Sure.
And I think about it.
So was banking in the 1960s kind of like watching an episode of Mad Men? It's guys in hats and smoking cigarettes and giving out money?
In many ways, yes, it was. I mean, the guys were always the manager and the assistant manager and the supervisor, which I later on did get the supervisor's job in the bank.
Okay, so tell us about getting, moving up the ranks.
Yeah.
Was it something that you had to specifically say, "Hey, look, I'm qualified. Doesn't matter that I'm a woman, I'm qualified," or did they just recognize it and just push you up the ladder?
I'm kind of embarrassed to say this part.
That's okay. There's only gazillions of people.
Okay. I was, because I was a bookkeeper, then I was a teller, and then I was a loan department, and then I was new accounts, and I kind of stay where I go. So that's how I got ahead in that branch. And then I said to the manager one day, after he made me a supervisor, which had been the first job that the woman had been at in the Crocker Bank, I said, "I'd like to be assistant manager someday." And so this manager says to me, "Well, Joan, you can't be that. That's a man's job." And I looked perplexed, like, is that true? And it actually was true at the time.
Where's that in writing?
Yeah,
Probably wasn't the
exactly.
employee manual.
Do you
for
ask
that.
them that? Did you go, "Is that
I
true?"
know, you know what? I just said, "Oh," I was like in shock. I didn't know what to say because I wasn't very good at that time. I never did get
To be able
really
to-
good at
Get forward
trying to
with
get
that.
further. No, I worked hard enough to get good jobs and get
Yeah.
good positions. So what I did about that is I went and applied for another job, and they told me I had it, and I told a secretary, and then the secretary called the district manager and told him that I was going to quit because I couldn't get ahead.
Yeah.
So John called me, and he said, "Joan, you stay. You will be assistant manager by June." This was like in March. "And I'll take care of Mr. So-and-so." So that's what happened. I got a job as assistant manager in June, and they gave,
And
they
what year
gave
was that?
that was in 19, by that time, let's see, I started 1963, 68.
Okay, so at that point, they kind of realized, forget the man-woman thing. We like her.
They
we
were
want to keep
starting.
her,
Yeah.
and we'll give us a few months to explain to the world. Okay, get ready, world. We're gonna have a female assistant manager.
That's right. And they replaced me with a female retired service woman,
Okay.
and the manager retired. He
Nice.
couldn't take it.
Okay. But see, but at least they valued you enough to,
Right,
rather than
yeah.
just kind of like say, "No, I'm sorry, we just don't break barriers."
No,
like
it
that.
was wonderful. Yeah, and so I became assistant manager for 2 years.
Okay, and so what advice would you give to people out there? And it doesn't necessarily have to be women or minorities. Where it could be anybody who is maybe a little gun shy about how do I get ahead?
I can only tell you that I did it with honesty and really hard work.
Okay.
But what was on top of that is I really love people, and I love to be with people.
Okay.
I think that's what got me ahead. That's it. Because you cannot manipulate your way up. You can, but it won't work.
Yeah.
You will be crossed along the way. It was difficult enough when you're trying to follow the rules and you love what you're doing.
You know, you always hear that, you know, you slept your way to the top type
Yeah.
of thing, right? And it's like, even if people do that,
I know.
you know, you lose so much respect. Eventually,
You
that
do.
comes toppling down anyway.
Did it occur to you at the time, Joan, in 1968, that you were like opening doors for and opportunities for other women?
I have to tell you, it didn't, because I didn't know. I was new to Marin, and I was just too young to really figure all that out. And I was married to an Italian, so I wasn't a whole lot smarter. He kept me like I was.
Well, you know, it's funny, if you go back to like Shakespeare's time, men did all of the plays, right? And they even played women in the plays.
Yeah.
It's just like, really? I mean, well, I don't get that. You know, maybe it was too sexy of a thing to do or something. But,
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Patti has finally joined us. We're going to get her back on the air here. Okay, so before we do our first trivia question, got to give you some information here about the Meritage Resort and Spa. So you deserve it. A luxurious getaway in Napa Valley. The Meritage Resort and Spa boasts world-class luxury. Stroll across acres of hillside vineyards, enjoy award-winning cuisine, relax in the estate cave as you pamper yourself at the spa. They also have, you know, wine cellar, and they're having their third annual Masters and Makers at the Meritage on February 12th to 14th. And the thing that's really cool about this is if you look at this place, go online to meritage.com, and it is gorgeous. It's one of the largest places in Napa area to go ahead and stay.
Is that for me?
That's for you, Joe. Go check it out.
Thank you.
Meritage.com. All right, so here is our first trivia question about Las Wages, as we say. Which casino has the most liberal blackjack in the world? The first caller with the correct answer is going to win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Call 888-912-1190. That's 888-912-1190 to answer that question. And don't touch that dial. You're listening to The Best of Investing. We're going to be right back.
All right.
Okay.
Hey, Patti.
Hello,
Traffic.
Patti.
I think there had to be.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it was terrible
Had to
both
be.
ways.
Both ways.
Yeah, as soon
yeah.
as it started raining, everyone like, ah,
That's how it
Once
is.
and usually, you know, it's really chunky, but all of a
Thank
sudden,
you,
like
Edward. That was
a large
pretty
landing.
Good. Yeah, oh yeah. We
Flew
always
right
make
out.
it kind of fun.
I think I texted Edward at 4, and I wasn't at the Larkspur Landing, and I walked into the building at like 4:08.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, just
Whatever.
boom, we get here
Whatever.
quickly once you.
You said you were coming.
Yeah.
Hi, Patty. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Patty. I'm Joan.
Joan.
Nice to
So
meet you
go ahead and
I liked your story, paving the way.
we
Very
have
nice.
there's a
Oh.
couple of DVDs for you there.
Oh, what is that for?
That's for being on the show.
I won something.
You won.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's
Ding, 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 ding. I won something. I actually had some notes and all. I didn't even bring them, but I know what's going on.
Yeah.
I brought them and I didn't need them.
No,
realized.
no.
No, it's okay.
what should we
Edward,
get
you
into in the
speak?
second segment with Joan? Kind of interesting bank stories.
Yeah, do you have some interesting bank stories?
Or
Oh, I do.
Okay.
I have some interesting ones.
And Patty, feel free to jump in.
Yeah. I was in banking in like the 70s.
Oh, you were?
Well, late 70s,
Where
early
were
80s.
you?
New Jersey.
And I don't think it's any different anyplace
No.
else.
No, but things had changed everywhere then. There were women managers all over the place at that point. Yeah, I was in the marketing department.
Okay, yeah, it happened
It
pretty
happened
fast after it once came.
Yeah, yeah.
But,
And I just read a book, a huge book called Girls Like Us, and Carole King, Joni Mitchell,
oh,
and Carly Simon, and how what they did and how that things changed, and it was all about that era and how it changed so fast.
when I said I was gonna write a book, lots of women called me.
And I love it. To a piece of paper. I'm just gonna take some notes tonight. I left it all. Right, let's put this on. Let's get going.
here's something here too.
Thanks. Good.
Okay.
Oh, you got it.
And the trivia question we have, or not trivia, the email question we have for you is, our second home's a good investment.
Okay.
All right. So, Joan, we're going to keep you on for a few more minutes
Here,
here.
got some stuff you want to talk about there?
Okay,
All right.
sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So when we come back, do you want to ask her stories, questions?
Lead question going in would be good.
Actually, I think the one that would be good is when I was promoted to manager. My first job as manager in San Anselmo.
Yeah, and I'd like to find out like how
I was replaced a man
and how did customers, what was your interaction with customers?
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Okay, ready? Here we go. Welcome back to The Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hahn, president of Pacific Private Money. Patti Cohen finally made it through all that traffic. And here was our trivia question about Las Vegas. Which casino has the most liberal blackjack in the world?
Arrows.
No.
Caesar's in Atlantic City.
Yeah, we're talking Las Vegas.
Oh.
No, it's about the Las Vegas Club.
What?
Gotta check that out. Las Vegas Club. All right, I'm familiar with it. Okay.
Liberal slots.
So we have as our guest Joan Capurro, who blazed the trail for women in banking, specifically here in Marin. But
Right.
I'm sure, like you said, it's off the air. You told us it's not probably that much different in those days, back in the early '60s, anywhere else.
Yeah.
And so one of the questions I wanted to ask you was how was it when you first got promoted dealing with customers? Like, let's say some guy had, loans with the bank and, was he patronizing? Did he say, oh, and let me explain something? You know what I mean? So how was it dealing with
Well,
customers?
you would think that, but actually, I don't remember that ever happening. And I think the reason is my first job as manager was San Anselmo, Crocker Bank. It's where Enchiladas is now.
Oh, yeah.
And people were very friendly. You know what? When you love people and you're friendly and you're real open and honest, then that takes away what they want to say to you.
Mm-hmm.
You know it does.
Now remember,
they
this is
disarm
radio,
themselves.
and we want to make it exciting, so do you have any exciting stories for us?
Well, yeah. Well, the exciting story, and I'm not going to use any names,
Of course
but the gentleman that I replaced when I got my first job as manager used to hide behind the plants. Customers would come in. This is what the people in the branch told me. So that's, I think, why I got that
Because
job.
he
Didn't want to see him.
He didn't want to.
No.
He didn't want to deal with people.
No, he spent a lot of time evidently cleaning the back room. I don't know what that's about, but
Cleaning the back room?
Yeah. Well, he was.
Give him a bottle of Windex.
To tell the truth, I think he was a little older at the time. I was much younger, and so I think he just was tired.
Yeah.
Didn't want to be bothered. So it was very easy me going in, and I didn't have any problem with the customers, but I did have a problem in that the branch had not been audited for 2 years, so it failed after I'd been there 2 months. So in 6 months, our branch, we fixed it up. It was A+. We just did everything you're supposed to do because there was a lot of dots that needed to be dotted on loans and stuff.
Regulations.
So for that, when we went to San Francisco for a big meeting, managers meeting, I was given a little box of puppies that we were giving away to customers.
Puppies, real puppies.
Real puppies.
Stuffed puppies.
Stuffed puppies. Okay.
And I wasn't smart enough, because I was so grateful to be manager, to ask for a raise. So there was the
Ask
kind
for,
of
you mean
thing,
ask for larger stuff.
maybe I should have gotten money for putting everything in order.
That would have been nice.
That would have been very nice. And in those days, you smoked in the branches.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah, I even smoked at that time. Thank goodness I quit. But I did have a customer one day ask me to put the cigarette out, and I was like, "What?" So I just
So it was
did.
almost rude for someone to do
Yeah,
that.
it was almost rude. That's right. And
How
so
rude to
I
ask
learned,
that.
but it taught me a great lesson. I never did that again. It was so uncouth, but that's how it
So
was.
you tried to act a bit more couth.
I tried to act. I did, but it was a very exciting time because being a manager gives you the opportunity to actually put women forward faster.
Mhm.
And there was a lot of really good, hardworking women. This is how it works when I hired somebody. For instance, the supervisor I brought in, I said, "Here's the rules. You have to counsel a person. If they leave that room feeling 1 inch high, you'll lose your job." Because that's not how you help each other.
Gotcha.
So it made a huge difference in that person's life who had a reputation for doing that.
Well, and now Patti, okay, so Patti Cohen, most successful realtor in Marin. And the funny thing is when we think of real estate agents, most of the time now we actually think of women.
Right.
I mean, I do.
Mhm.
But I suppose it wasn't always like that.
Yeah, it seems to me things change very quickly. I was in the East Coast at the time living there, and I was in banking in the early 80s. And it was very common. I was in the marketing department, but even in the branches, in the system, there were managers, but it was still a boys' club.
Gotcha.
For sure. And I think it changed. I mean, if you just think about music, which is such a metaphor for the culture, we went from like 50s oldies into like Grateful Dead acid rock.
Yeah.
So that is exactly when our culture changed around the women, and it was people like Joan that really paved the way.
Well,
And-
you're like the Jackie Robinson of
Right.
our time.
Thank
Right.
you.
And really, honestly, what a big part of it was birth control pills.
Oh,
Things changed.
because if people didn't just get pregnant. Have
Yeah.
babies. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. You know, but obviously, if you were not a good banker, you would have been fired. So.
Well, but the birth control pill brings up something that they used to ask women. That's what they asked me when I got my job. Do you have any trouble with your period?
Wow.
Oh, my
Are
goodness.
Are you going to have a baby right away? Because I got married 6
Yeah.
months after I was there, and after I came back from my honeymoon, the assistant manager would come up every morning and look at me and smile and say, "How are you feeling today?" That was degrading to me.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I didn't. You didn't have. If you said anything, you'd be out.
And,
So
and if you started eating saltine crackers, then
Yeah.
they knew.
I
thought PMS was just invented about 12 years ago. I didn't
Well,
I mean-
morning sickness.
Yes, that's right.
And it was actually birth control pills and abortion that changed everything.
Wow.
So really, Joan, it changed so fast. I'm like 10 years later, it was very different.
But the thing about like the people, the PMS thing is the how was your period after every.
terrible,
Wow.
terrible. When I look back on it now, but you had to answer it, so you'd put your head down and either shake your head yes or no because it was embarrassing.
I mean, what are you
We
going to
didn't
say? What are you
talk
gonna
that
say?
way.
Oh yeah, by the way, every month I'm going to be out for about 4 days because I have that.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to admit it anyway.
No,
So
that's exactly right.
So when do you think that banking, because that's the industry you came up in, when did it change from being a boys' club, or is it still a boys' club today? I don't know. I mean, you're
Yeah.
a woman from your perspective, you would know. I mean, is there still? I mean, I go into a bank and it's maybe half women, half men, or maybe more women than men, and many of them are. It doesn't feel to me as a man, and maybe again I'm looking through a man's eyes, but when would that have changed?
Oh, well, first of all, when you go into a bank now and you see men and you see women, okay, so both, but generally in my time, if you will, it was always women because you didn't pay a man enough money to be in the job. I would say it changed. It hasn't totally changed. It is definitely a man's route. Tell me how many presidents you know of a bank that are women.
Yeah, only a couple.
Yeah.
They're CFOs, and that's about as.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned before that you went from bookkeeper to teller, and it's amazing for me in my mind to think that the bookkeeper is lower than the teller.
Yeah, bookkeeper was lowest, then teller, and then every other job I did in the branch until there was none left, and he said I couldn't have his, so.
Yeah, well, you've had it long enough. Step aside.
Yeah.
And really, the power isn't in the branches. So if you think about really where are the women up in the senior ranks, and just look at our Congress and
Yeah.
government, there's a glass ceiling, but there's moving up.
Gotcha.
Well, and of course now it's just it's one thing for in the bank itself and the service positions to break through. It's comical listening to the stories you were telling, Joan, about it's all of the positions and the loan officers and everything were men and now they're women, but it's true. It's at the upper echelons and the executive and the ownership and the real presidents of the banks. It's still a boys' club in so many ways.
It's difficult to get to that top rank, but it will happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for giving us the advice though about working hard, being a people person. I mean, it's kind of
Be honest.
obvious answers, but still, at least it's nice hearing it from somebody who that's actually what you did to get a little bit further on your career.
Love your job and you will get ahead.
Yeah. Well, Joan Capurro, thank you very much for joining
Very
us on The
welcome.
Best of Investing. All right.
Thank you for talking.
That's awesome.
You're very welcome. Okay, we're going to cut to our next commercial break. Before we do, just want to remind people about Hornblower Cruises. If you've never been on Hornblower Cruise, you got to check them out, especially at Christmas time with all the lights.
Really fun.
It's great, especially if you go underneath the Golden Gate Bridge. They have some really cool special Christmas dinner specials. They have the dancing. The food's awesome too.
Yeah.
Check them out
Absolutely.
at hornblower.com. Okay, here's our second commercial question regarding Las Vegas Bound. Which casino used to feature Betty Boop in the back theme park? All right, remember Betty Boop? Okay. The first caller with the correct answer wins a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Call 912-1190. That's 888-912-1190 to answer this question. Which casino used to feature Betty Boop in the back theme park? All right? Stay with us. You're listening to The Best of Investing. When we come back, we've got some very interesting emails for our co-hosts. All right.
Good job. The emails, do they really come in, or are you making that stuff up? Because the questions are always so good and well-rounded.
What, the email?
Yeah.
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll get older emails and I'll go, oh, okay,
That's
I'll
a
save
good
that for
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Because they're well-rounded, they're always different,
Yeah.
they're always easy.
Well, we try not to make them too
So you get emails during the show?
No. People, well, not now. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, when the show's
people
on.
listen. Yeah, then
Yeah.
sometimes they'll send it later on.
Oh, interesting. I'll have to do
Yeah.
that.
People do pay attention. I'm out there a lot in the world,
That's
and people are like,
great.
"Put it on the radio."
And sometimes what will happen, like someone will answer an email, a question for the Las Vegas thing, but then while they're doing that, they'll also say, hey, could you sometimes talk about stock options or
I've
something?
seen that Betty Boop thing. I think that was.
You have a guess for that? I don't.
Last time I was in Las Vegas, though, it was 1965.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Pioneer
Oh.
Club, remember?
They had all the old. That's when it was great.
Yeah.
We saw
Sammy Davis
the
Jr.
best.
and-
Sammy Davis Jr.,
Right,
Frank Sinatra,
that
all of
guys.
them in one night.
Wow,
It was such a
those were the days.
there for a wedding.
In fact, I've got Frank Sinatra tribute tickets.
Great.
But it's not him,
We were there.
It's not.
We were there when he was married to Mia. Mia was there.
Oh wow.
What kind of goodies you got there for us?
Well, just kind of what's kind of going on in
Oh, no.
this thing just fell
Oh,
off.
one of these.
All right,
So
let's
someone was, well, not you, but somebody was
I don't
very
have to do it,
abrasive.
really.
at
Oh,
one
here.
time.
Yeah, no, it's all right. We've got the master here taping. No pun intended.
We got Scotch tape.
Oh,
That's
You
right.
Just
need
call
duct
me-
tape. Why don't
Just
we
call
have
me
duct tape?
Bailey Wick.
I know.
Okay,
Right, be gentle here.
yeah.
All right,
it's not-
gotcha.
Don't worry.
Yeah, I was just thinking about talking about, where we are this year and inventory and
Okay.
what's going on with 2016 and.
So I scoured all my
Okay.
blogs and it was all boring stuff. It's like,
Yeah.
anything good here? It's
I'll ask you the email question, then you can go on from there. How's
like,
that?
perfect. That's
Sure.
All right, ready? Away we go. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hahn and Patti Cohen. Here was our second trivia question. Which casino used to feature Betty Boop in the back theme park? Come on,
Drawing blanks.
come on, come on. MGM Grand.
Ah.
All right. Patti, we got an email for you. It says, are second homes a good investment?
Well, it's sort of yes and no. In some ways, it's by definition, it's opposite because they're not an investment.
Gotcha.
They're to enjoy as a second home, right? Isn't
Yeah,
that what the
that's-
intent? I'm
That's
assuming
true.
that was the intention of the question, to have
Yeah.
a place to go to as a second
Uh-huh.
home. So obviously, that I'm assuming they're just going to enjoy it and not rent it. I mean, personally, I'm too much about investment, so I would get a second home and rent it and then use it a couple times a year,
Gotcha.
rather
Okay,
than let it sit there.
I know you're not an attorney, but is a second home a legal distinction? I mean, I'm in the lending business and I hear that all the time, and it's almost like, well, the only distinction I'm aware of is that as a person, you can only have one primary residence. You can't have two primary residences. You can have a second home.
Well,
But
yeah,
if-
you know,
but with Airbnb now and all the VRBO, what's the distinction between investment property and second home? I don't quite get it.
Well, there is your primary residence, but there is a second home. Like, say, for example, if you want to when you would be getting a loan for that second home, it wouldn't be a non-owner occupied loan. You
So
know,
it's a banking distinction.
it's a distinction. It's a
Okay.
banking distinction,
All right.
and it's also obviously a distinction for your taxes too. It's different. It's
Yeah.
treated differently. So it's not, you don't do it for investment.
True.
You know?
True. But I guess maybe let's say he's not here to, or he or she is not here to for us to ask the question, but I guess maybe the question would allude to, gee, should I put my money in this or should I just save for vacations? You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
I mean, and I've had second homes, and really, I'm not going to do it anymore because emotionally, it feels like, you go there, you have to fix stuff, you don't go there, you feel guilty that it's just sitting there,
Gotcha, yeah.
So
and
it's,
you pay the real estate
Airbnb,
taxes,
baby.
yeah, so Airbnb is the way to go.
Yeah.
But second home markets all over the country, I think it is a good idea because you go back to investment real estate investment, are you going for equity or are you going for cash flow? Obviously, you're not going for cash flow,
Yeah.
but you can definitely go for equity in these properties and keep it in the family and, you know.
I don't know, you can buy a nice place in Barstow and then you got cash flow, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Not exactly, okay. But you are quite the expert in real estate. You're the number one broker in Marin County. The audience, you hear that? The number one broker in Marin County. She's the bomb, as we say. Why don't you continue on, though? Tell us a little bit about what's going on in real estate.
Well, yeah, it's been, I mean, we're literally like 3 full years out of the worst recession ever in our country, aside from the Depression of 1930. So, you know, getting perspective on that, we had a huge ride up in prices since the middle of 12, and 2015 kind of settled and softened in terms of appreciation, but it's probably going to end up at about 7%, which is really great. That's a lot.
That's healthy.
That's really healthy. Then, so what's going on with 2016? A lot of it is supply and demand. Now, last month, out of the top 10 counties in the state, 6 of the 6 were in the Bay Area for lowest inventory. So it's all supply and demand, and if low inventory continues, prices are going to still go up. But what is predicted nationwide in 2016 is pent-up demand in terms of sellers, because they now have equity. So perspective about, you know, all that perspective from people that were losing their house, now they have equity, and now it's time to breathe and say, what are we going to do with our life?
That's a good point.
But that's not as applicable in the Bay Area. We still have the healthiest job market in the country. We still have, you know, 6 out of 10 of our counties were in the top 10 for lowest inventory. You know, we still have, but what we really are lacking in, and we need it to be healthy. We don't need that rise up anymore. But affordability. A lot of people are just like throwing the towel. They're out of the game. They can't do it.
Mark, didn't you have some statistic before, this may have been some weeks ago, about that so many houses are still underwater?
Well, there are quite a few homes. I don't have the
Okay.
statistics in front of me, but there actually are. I think nationwide, still in the millions. I think there's still quite a few homes that are underwater. Not so much in California anymore, because most of the markets, except for the very low end, are at or near or even above the prior high.
Yeah.
So it's still some of the low end markets, like in the Bay Area, that would be maybe the markets that are way out. People that have to commute maybe 2 hours in to get to a quote Bay Area job. So and those were the homes that were built, many of them in the run up in the mid to late, so the early to mid 2000s, and so those homes are still, those guys are still, many of them underwater, but that is declining. It's declining nationwide, and you know what I see for 2016, because again it's the end of the year and people in fact people ask me quite a bit, because people who invest in our mortgage products, they always want to know, when do you think the next correction is going to be, and certainly in Northern California, which is our lending market, there just doesn't seem to be any indications that that we're achieving a peak or that we're close to a peak, because we don't have inventory. We do have high-paying tech jobs. Mortgage rates may go up. We know the Fed's likely to raise short-term interest rates this month in December, but that's not necessarily going to affect mortgage rates. And mortgage rates may still remain in the low 4s throughout much of 2016 based on other long-term interest rate factors. So you've got continued very, very low cost of money, very tight inventory, people making good money, no indication that there's a tech bubble. So unless something unexpected happens, which absolutely can do, and that's usually what happens, something very unexpected happens, and it triggers all of a sudden some kind of cataclysmic or semi-cataclysmic event in the economy or real estate. So barring that, I don't see anything into 2016 that would indicate it not being another banner year and continued appreciation in local Bay Area real estate prices.
And Patti, we're getting into the holidays now. Theoretically, things slow down.
Things have really slowed down.
I mean, you look in the paper at like the open houses, and there's 10 instead of 100.
Yeah. Which, believe it or not, it's a good time to sell.
Absolutely.
It's all supply and demand.
Yeah.
When I look at those curves every single year, it follows. Yeah, well, yeah, there aren't many buyers out there, but there are not many sellers either.
Yeah.
And the buyers that are looking now are serious.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, because I would think that the buyers for sure would be really serious. Then the funny thing is that you think about if they bought a house fairly soon, that potentially could disrupt the school year for the kids unless they buy something in the same district.
Yeah, there's a lot of relocations. I'm amazed at families that just will relocate in the middle of the school year. That's the way it goes. And so, yeah, but I forget the statistic, but it's not that many families that have kids at home anymore. It's not the typical profile anymore
Oh, interesting.
of families with kids.
Okay, before we cut to our last commercial break, give out your information in case people want to get hold of you and ask any kind of real estate question.
It's Patti Cohn with Pacific Union International, 415-722-4842. Patti Cohn.
And I want to do a little shout out here for Pacific Trade Exchange, barter to barter business. Did you recall
I
that?
did. I did.
Very interesting, yeah.
Yeah.
And also for those people who have second homes who can't quite rent them out, or looking for people to rent them out, call Pacific Trade Exchange.
That's perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then they can just go ahead and put it on there, get some credits, spend it in the system. It's just awesome. Check out, call Brian Kinkart. Just look him up, pacifictradeexchange.com. All right, here is our third and final Las Vegas question. After this, I think I'm going to roll the dice and look at it. Okay, what is the name of the famous restaurant at Treasure Island? Right, you've ever been to Treasure Island? You know, they do the swashbuckling and all that? Okay.
Is that what you do when you go there?
I do, yes. Actually, it's fun. They I don't know if they do it anymore. Someone got hurt one time. Right?
Swashbuckling?
Yeah, something like that. All right, the first
Is that a thing?
Swashbuckling, come on. Swords and everything, right? Okay, call 888-912-1188 to answer that question. Don't touch that dial. The best of investing. I'll be right back.
Nice. Great. That's good. It's fun.
Fast.
Yeah.
Fast.
Yeah, and it's good sales. I'm gonna start listening to this more often.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Years ago, people told me I look like Earl Flynn, especially when I had that.
Oh.
So I'm into that swashbuckling.
I guess that's better than Hitler if you just had the
Yeah.
mustache.
Isn't that funny? Because Laurel and Hardy, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Hardy had that kind of.
Do you know the name of the restaurant?
I don't know.
I don't.
No, I don't know what he's talking about. I mean, I go to Treasure Island all the
Okay.
time. There's a teeny little bar and grill there, but he's not talking about that.
That's a famous one. Is it Wolfgang Puck or something? But that
Treasure Island?
No, but it's something along the lines
There you
of,
go.
of what you would go, oh, that kind of makes sense for Treasure Island.
Treasure Island.
I'll give you a hint when we come back.
Money pit.
We'll call. We'll go home and call.
That's right. Good home.
Yeah, there was a time I was telling, maybe Joan doesn't know, so I told these guys before. One time I was asking questions that were a little bit too easy, and one time I got 45 emails for one question.
Wow.
Or phone calls for one question,
Yeah.
and I said, you know what?
Takes too
Wow.
much time.
It takes too much time for me to answer them all, and then I got to tell everybody, no,
Oh
sorry,
my
you're late,
God.
sorry, you're late. You're the 5th caller, 8th caller, 9th caller.
Interesting.
Forget it. So I asked once, what's my favorite caller? Sorry, wrong.
Yeah.
So I say it's a little bit harder.
Well, but the thing is, they can just Google it.
Sure.
You know, why don't they?
They can't Google what's my favorite
I
color.
forgot
but
to
that's-
tell you. I forgot to tell you guys that when I was when I left Wells Fargo Bank as a page girl, did I tell you I was replaced by a dumbwaiter?
I read that. But,
It's true.
Yeah.
I forgot to say that.
Oh.
I like it. The
So,
funny
so
part-
you wrote a book. I'll have to see your book.
I'm reading. No,
You're
I'm writing.
writing it.
I'm
Nice.
trying.
Good.
Oh, that's
This
fun.
is not where I've got.
Wow. What was that?
No,
I know.
you just asked me a question about
I don't know. That was a long time ago. I don't remember.
Googling it. Well, the thing is, when
Oh.
people think, by the time I Google it,
Mm.
there's going to be too many callers already. So I think that's what happens.
Yeah.
A lot of people just assume, I'll just never even call anyway.
Yeah.
Even when you know the answer. Okay, here we go. Well, welcome back to the Best of Investing. Last time for today, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hunt and Patti Cohn. Third trivia question. What is the name of the famous restaurant at Treasure Island?
Bucket of gold.
No,
Bucket of blood?
No. Bucket of blood.
No,
Yeah,
that's
I
in
wanna
Carson
name-
City.
I want to name my restaurant Bucket of Blood.
Straight from the meat.
No, okay, there's a football team.
Buccaneers.
Yes.
Oh,
Buccaneer
good.
Buccaneer Bay.
All right.
That's the name of it.
Buccaneer Bay.
All right, Mark, we got an email for you, and it has to do with interest rates here. It says, if interest rates rise,
Which they will.
okay, do I have to worry about my principal if I invest in deeds of trust? Usually bond prices decline if interest rates rise.
Well, so that's a question, about mortgage investing, deed of trust investing, trustee investing. It comes by many, many names. At Pacific Private Money, we help people invest in mortgage-backed products. We've got two primary products. We've got individual notes that tends to favor the more seasoned investor, someone who's experienced in real estate or may have invested in notes before. We also have a mortgage pool fund, which is for a little bit more of a passive investment for people who are looking to earn higher yields on their savings. Our mortgage pool fund right now, in fact, is paying about 8.15% on an annualized basis, making monthly distributions of the interest income, where you can let it accumulate and buy additional shares if you don't need the income. You're a growth investor. Well, growth investors are getting close to 8.5% on a compounded basis, and of course, past performance is no promise of a future result, but private money rates are pretty steady. Private money loan that we make day in, day out, week in, week out is right around 10%. It's a short-term loan. People use it for, they call them bridge loans a lot of times, short-term fast funding money to close on a real estate transaction. We do, I think we're on pace for close to 200 transactions this year at about 75 million
That's
in
amazing.
total.
Wow.
In California, again, there's just, the real estate market is huge in the Bay Area. I mean, billions of dollars transact, and so not many people fall into the need of, oh my God, I'm going to go out and get, a 10%, used to be called a hard money loan. Now most of them refer to it as just, private money. But there are people all the time. It happens, and oftentimes it's happening more now with situations where people need a private money loan because they want to buy first before they sell their existing home. That's the most common loan we make today. Is that
I want to interrupt with a question for you. I wonder, it's more of a statement, I wonder how many more loans you do than the average small bank.
I don't know.
We should have that, I should have.
Let's go ask a small bank.
Well, say, how many loans do you do in a year?
Yeah.
Because 200 loans, that's, a loan more than a loan every 2 days.
Yeah. So we're a private money mortgage banker. We use private capital. So the listener wrote in who may or may not be an investor in notes or individual trust deeds and asking about if mortgage rates go up, will that impact the interest rate I receive? And the answer is no, because when you invest in a note, it's really technically not an investment because it's financing. You're a lender. You're being the bank. So when your money is used to fund a real estate loan, it's a financing instrument. The promissory note is a contract. The deed of trust that gets recorded is the collateral. And so when you participate in trust deed investing, the hallmark is that you have collateral. So it's a financing instrument. And so that contract is to pay you that rate. And when we do individual notes, a common rate is around 9% net of servicing. We may charge the borrower 10% and pay the investor in those loans. It might be more than one investor, in fact. The investor or investors in that loan will get somewhere around 9% typically. And so regardless of what interest rates do during the term of that loan, which might be short term, it might be a 12-month loan, it might be a 36-month loan, it might be a 5-year loan, although that's not as common as a short-term loan is. But there are people who just, for thanks to their patterns of behavior, they're just never going to get a bank loan because they've got trashed credit. So they know they got to pay the piper when it comes to getting financing. And so we do those loans, and if you fund that loan, you collect that, whatever that rate you were promised, which let's call it 9%, you're going to get that for the term of the loan, regardless of what interest rates do. Now, the marketplace for private money, when interest rates go up, will change. So if you are someone who invests in short-term loans, say ones that typically pay off between 6 and 12 months, which is the vast majority of the loans that we do at Pacific Private Money, well, you may be getting 9% today, but if prime goes from the low 3s now to back to the historical 20, 30-year average of between 6 and 8%, well, you're likely to see an increase in the offering rate of privately funded notes. It may go back up to 10, 11, maybe even 12%. When I first got into hard money loan origination, it was not uncommon for an investor in a note to get 12% on his money, but the prime rate at that point was 8%. So you're talking about a prime plus 5, prime plus 4 differential, so which is pretty common.
Okay. Yeah, because I know like if someone buys a 30-year bond and interest rates go up, then they're going to get smoked on their principal for a number of years potentially.
Yeah,
But
and
if you're talking about short-term loans, it doesn't really matter.
right, and so again, getting back to what is mortgage investing? Well, if you invest in an individual note, you're being the bank. Now, when you invest in a mortgage pool fund, that's different. Now, you are investing in a fund of real estate secured notes. There are differences in a mortgage pool fund versus funding an individual note. It's certainly easier for the average investor to invest in a fund because of the competition for individual note investment opportunities. But there are pros and cons to both, and you probably should be aware of them, because let's face it, I still think it's going to be a while before we're going to see savings rates come back to any type of respectable level.
Yeah.
And if you're like most people and you've got liquidity and you want it to earn a return, you should look at mortgage investing opportunities. So for more information, do check us out at pacificprivatemoney.com, or come visit our downtown Novato office location. We're on Grant Avenue in downtown Novato, and we can also be reached by phone, of course, 415-883-2150. Call us anytime for more information about mortgage investing.
By the way, do you have going to surprise you with a question? Do you have any deal of the week? We didn't talk about this ahead of time.
I don't have a specific deal of the week, but a loan we recently funded, and this is fairly common. We had a family that called us that thought they were going to get bank financing, conventional financing, for a second home acquisition. We were just talking about that. We call these bridge loans. And so they're a couple in San Francisco that's actually moving into Marin, and they want to buy this home in Kentfield. And so the home target price is actually, for Kentfield, actually a pretty low priced home, $1.5 million. It's kind of funny to say that that's a bargain price for any home in anywhere, but in Kentfield that's a bargain. And the reason it's a bargain, it's kind of a fixer. So they need a loan to acquire the property, and they happen to have a lot of equity in their San Francisco condo. So they want to preserve the approximately $400,000 of cash they have, because they want to make improvements to the home before they move in. So what we decided to do for them is we're making them a loan for $1.5 million, which is the purchase price of their Kentfield home. Now that sounds like 100% financing, right?
It sounds like it, but
We're gonna
We're
cross-collateralize.
going
There
to
you go.
cross-collateralize, right? They have a ton of equity and a small first on their condo. Now, we haven't decided yet whether we're going to go ahead and pay off that first or just go in second position behind them. This is something we're still working out with the client. But there is enough equity so that we've determined that we can make a $1.5 million loan to help them buy a $1.5 million home in Kentfield. But the exposure to Pacific Private Money making that loan is that we're going to have a loan to value, a combined loan to value as we call it, or CLTV, you may have heard the term, of well below 70%. In fact, it's around 60% combined loan to value. So there's a lot of protective equity for the investors in that note that we're putting together right now. And that note rate is going to be about 9.9% to the borrower with interest-only payments for the length of time they need that money. There's no prepayment penalty. So if they only need the money for a few weeks, well, we charge some fees up front, a couple of points on that, so we do get fee income. We'd rather they hold a loan for a few months. We usually find that people pay it back between 4 and 8 months, maybe 6 months is the average payback. But if you only need the money for literally I just need help, nabbing that property. I got to close in 2 weeks and I can't get bank money. Come on, and they'll pay it back maybe in 30 or 60 days. That works too.
Well, I'm going to guess that this one will actually go longer because they're improving.
This one will.
Yeah, they're improving the new one, and they probably don't want to move into that one.
Right.
Plus, they got to sell the old one. And
I've done lots of loans where, in fact, we did a loan recently to a contractor who was doing a similar one. We also, for him, did 100% acquisition financing of the target property, but we crossed with his existing. So being a contractor, he wanted to buy this home in Novato, remodel it, move in, then remodel the home he's moving out of and put that on the market because he doesn't want to leave any profits on the table. So these are things you can't do easily with conventional or bank financing today because of the Dodd-Frank restrictions and the fact that if you're self-employed, even if you're making lots of money today, it's just a lot of us are finding it difficult to get that second loan. It's easier, you can get the first loan, but getting a second home loan on a second property, many find that challenging. So the bridge loan product at Pacific Private Money is a very popular product right now. And again, for more information, just go to pacificprivatemoney.com.
And aren't you having some kind of a get-together in January?
It is January 20th. We are going to have yet another, we haven't had one for about a year now, but at Patti's in Mill Valley at 7 p.m. on January 20th, we are going to host a free shindig where we're going to promote and get out information about the Pacific Private Money Fund. And so if you have been curious, if you've been listening to the show before, and you've heard about the fund, and you want to meet the folks that do the radio show and do the fund and get some great food. We've found the hors d'oeuvres that Patti's provides is just fabulous. And it's not ungodly expensive to throw an event there. That's one of the other reasons I really like it. But it's upstairs. They've got valet parking. It's gorgeous. It's right off the freeway. It's easy to get to. Patti's in Mill Valley on January 20th. We're going to talk about the Pacific Private Money Fund. So,
and people should probably call your office.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, RSVP, or just you can go to our website and put your name and email address on there. You'll get on our emailing list, and we just started sending email invitations out now through our Constant Contact account for the event on January 20th.
Give out your information one more time.
So it's 415-883-2150, or go to pacificprivatemoney.com.
Yeah.
Patti,
Well,
go ahead.
I was going to say, those are good examples of very well-heeled borrowers. And I've found that the people that are doing private money borrowing are not what used to be thought of in the hard money world of really blood on their credit report, shady income. You know, these people are very well-heeled. They're just trying to make a real estate transaction happen. And the way Mark runs it, it's very secure. So, I mean, I'm considering investing.
From an investment standpoint, it's fabulous. From a borrowing standpoint, I will say though, a lot of those well-heeled borrower clients who need a bridge loan, I'll be honest with you, that a lot of them get sticker shock when they hear the 10%.
I bet.
Sure. And again, the market sets the rates.
Yeah.
If I had access to cheaper capital, I'd be making bridge loans at 6% or 8%. And if you look hard enough, there are some companies in California that actually advertise less expensive than 10% bridge money. The problem is that what we found is they've been a little bit less than reliable at closing as promised.
And that's the scariest thing, because then you get really messed up if you can't close.
Last minute and everything blows up, you lose your deposit.
That's
And
it.
the truth is, it's the fair market value. If they could find it less, they're not doing anybody any favors here. They would find it, and if they can't, I send people over there.
Well, it's I got to say that I added to my existing investment.
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Pacific Private Money. Yeah. And the thing
We
I like
cashed
about-
that check.
Yeah. It cleared? Did it bounce? Okay,
No.
good. Whew, there's a first. One of the things I really like is that even though it's not quote a liquid fund, the thing is my money's not tied up for years and years and years.
Yeah.
There are liquidity provisions in there. So,
And they're mostly short-term loans, so we are turning. I mean, we just got 2 payoffs for almost $1 million just in the last couple of weeks. So we'll be looking at lending that money back out very shortly. We've got a nice pipeline of loan requests in there. And Patti, you're right. Even though it's that time of year where in a lot of businesses things slow down, but it's a great time of year to be buying or selling real estate. It really is. And the holidays fall really perfectly this year. We have 2 long weekends in a row. But you can still close transactions. We've got the business weeks, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday through the holidays. Not that I want to be Scrooge and tell people to keep working, except if you work for me. Keep working.
That's it.
Get off Facebook.
I know. I talked to some of Mark's employees. I go, what does 24/7 mean to you? I said, I was a very nice boss. I used to give my employees Christmas off if it fell on a Sunday. Really quickly, Joan, you're still with us. You forgot to mention one quick thing about who you were replaced
Oh.
in your banking?
Yes, my first banking job at Wells Fargo in San Francisco, where I was a page girl. I was replaced by a dumbwaiter.
Wow.
It just was the
He
timing.
just wasn't
Wait a
that
minute.
smart.
I just
A dumb waiter
Yeah, but-
or a dumb
Dumbwaiter.
Dumbwaiter.
Dumbwaiter. That's one of those things you stick it in there and you.
Oh, and
pull
I've talked about that all my life because it's so funny.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is very funny. It was just accidental. I had to move to Marin
Wow.
because San Francisco is so dangerous to work, according to my.
Well, the workman's
future
comp on a
husband.
dumbwaiter is probably not too high. So,
No.
okay, thank you for
Thanks.
joining us
Thank
here
you.
on The Best of Investing.
Thank
Here's
you.
our thoughts for the day. How long after walking into someone's house is it acceptable to ask for their Wi-Fi password? Okay, ready for this one? A recent study has found that women who carry a little extra weight live longer than the men who mention it. Tune in next week for The
That's
Best
good.
of Investing. We're going to be giving away more free vacations for answering trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm Edward Brown. We're wishing you the best of investing.
So fun. Good ones.
That was
Short
great.
and sweet.
Oh,
Thank you.
right on.
Isn't it fun? I always
Yeah.
have fun when
Well,
I
I
come back.
learned something. I was like, oh my gosh, so much more money you earn on your interest on your savings at the bank.
Yeah.